a 6-year-old fucking getting ready to goddamn snap. And she's like, well, yeah. In my mind, it's a 6-year-old girl. She's like, I went right back to being 6 years old, and when they said what they were going to do to me and they were going to send me to this home, and I saw this man getting ready to rape my sister, and then they getting ready to rape me. Then I pulled that gun. She's like, so, yeah, I was like, fuck it. All y'all men do is leave anyway. Now my husband telling me to get out. He finna leave me. She's like, so, okay, so he didn't deserve to really live, so I was going to light the motherfucker up. I said, okay. You know what? That's normal. She said, I am? I said, no, I'm not going to join that club. I'm not going to call you psychotic. And she said, I feel like I have 5 personalities. I said, yeah, you probably do. That's normal, too. She's like, it is? I said, yeah, I'm not just saying it to make you feel good, but I know what it's like to be abused and to be molested, and then your mama and people in your family tell you, boy, you got a vivid imagination. You just can't let the past go. Why do you have to bring this up? My head is hurting. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you, hang up on you, ignore you, and say that you have the problem. And when women are fractured and abused, not only does it go to our uterus, like I was saying last night, and reverberates through the core of our uterus, it also shatters your dome. Now, see, we have several domes in our body. A lot of people refer our dome as our skull, our head, our brain, but then we have the oval structure, that's our uterus, have the oval structure, that's our bladder, and all those reverberate energy through them. And then we have those circles that are called eggs in our fallopian, in our ovaries. We have those eggs in there. Those are domes. See all this circular shaped stuff that's in us, our breasts, our nipples, our eyes. See, we have all these concave, either holes in our body or organs that are shaped kind of circular like holes or rounded off and have hollowed out hole centers. Everything reverberates through them. But the thing is, when a child is abused and penetrated with a man's penis and abused and violated, and they walk away and they leave you and they say, that didn't happen to you, and if it happened to you, so what? It doesn't mean anything. I'm getting high. I'm running the streets. I'm laying up with somebody. People think that it doesn't matter because that's a little girl. That's just a little bitty kid, and they don't mean anything. They're too dumb to know what's going on. And those little girls, just like this girl telling me, look, I remember at 1 and 2 years old, that's when the molestation started. Many people would not think that a 1 or 2-year-old would remember being molested. But all of this stuff, that's a trauma. It's a severe trauma, and it starts to fracture the personalities. Now, another place you can see this happening where they deliberately induce trauma to make you more psychic and create fractures in the personality and alternative personalities is when you're being tortured. When they torture you, like in POW camps, or when they do experiments, and it's even been documented, the secret societies that will give birth to babies that are sacrificed, or the witches will give birth to babies, they start training the babies to be psychic and to develop a personality that is a very destructive, very evil personality that they can manipulate and control to kill people, to trick people, to seduce them. They bring out the fractures. They create multiple personalities by inducing trauma to the baby and inducing trauma to the little child. And one of the ways to induce split personalities and trauma is to neglect the child, to withhold any type of emotional bonding with the child. And the most powerful one to do this is the mother. So that mother has that child, and the mother, at its timed, one of their exercises they would do, and you can even look this stuff up on YouTube. There's some videos of some people actually doing interviews. You don't see their faces, and you don't know their real names. Well, they were showing actually they were in secret societies in families higher up that control politics and money that are actually devil worshipers, and this is how they train the children with a lot of severely induced trauma. Well, a certain amount of time during the day, the child had to be in the room alone. The child had to be deprived of natural sensory things like light, food, water, hugging, being washed up and changed on a regular basis, deliberately being beaten and put in severe temperatures or climates just to see how the child would respond, to toughen the child, to make the child cold, and that should start to fragment the psyche of the child. So since many of us don't know about this and don't know that we have a lot of sick parents that have this type of mentality, and that might not even be the motivation to worship Satan or to turn the children over to that type of lifestyle, but they still exhibit the same types of behaviors towards the child, the same abusive, neglectful, sensory deprivation to the child. So when that happens, like what happened to her, and then the adults that traumatize pull back as if they did nothing wrong, and then the adults that are supposed to protect, to prevent the trauma, stand back and create an opportunity for the abuser to traumatize, and the child is constantly looking around and crying out for the mother, the father, the grandmother, the grandfather to defend them and protect them, and everybody stands back and allows the trauma and the abuse to occur. It's no wonder why she's 33 years old and has 5 split personalities, and she sat there and knew she had 5 personalities and could identify the personalities to me. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, so tell me about the personalities. And she's telling me about these personalities, and she's telling me when she knows when she's getting ready to change from one personality to the other. And I'm just like, okay, I mean, is this you want me to be freaked out now? You want me to call you stupid, crazy? I can't do any of that because I can relate to what you're saying. You obviously have not had the right people around you to be able to relate to what you're saying, to have the experience of what you're saying, have gone through it, and be able to help you create tools to move through this. Because what you need is to acknowledge the problem and acknowledge which of your personalities is going through this trauma, dealing with the issue, and then having tools to actually move from that point to this point, to actually be in the present. Many of us think we're in the present. We think we're in 2009. Yeah, your body is in 2009, and on some levels, like psychologically, intellectually, you go to work every day, you pay your bills, you take care of your children, you wash yourself. You are functioning in 2009, but there subconsciously, you might not even know you're aware that you're doing this, especially when you go into those little girl modes, you go into that depression, that crying mode, that whining mode for mommy. Many people, grown women, don't realize that a part of them is not in 2009. They could be still stuck in 1975. And that's what I'm trying to get you to realize. Like I was getting her to see, and she knew what I was talking about, because many of us are so fragmented from trauma and pain that parts of us are still left in that particular time warp, actually frozen in that area where somebody or some man caused you the most drama, the most trauma, the most pain in your body, in your vagina. Now, see, she had a lot of trauma, vaginal trauma and pain when she was a little girl. Her vagina trauma with men started extremely early. So that induced a lot of psychic trauma and spiritual, mental, emotional trauma that caused her mind to break off into different personalities. And many people look at somebody like they're crazy, like you'll see somebody laughing and talking. This one guy told me a couple of weeks ago that he said, this big fine motherfucker. He said, this girl's so goddamn big and fine. He said he been wanting to fuck her. She's like built like a stallion, 6 feet, big old titties, big ass. He said she just is like, her body is incredible, and she's just big and thick. He said, so she came over and said, let's go hang out and get something to eat. So he said they in the house. She, took her jacket and shit off. So he lusted, looking at her ass, her legs and shit. He's like, yeah, let's go hang out. And he said they get in the truck. He's like, and it's cold, so the windows rolled up, the heat is on. And they're driving down the street. And while they're driving down the street, she's smiling. And all of a sudden, she just stops smiling, and her eyes get real, real big, and she just starts staring at him and crossing and going, no, 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 no. I said, what the fuck? He said, I don't know what's wrong. He said she just started just screaming no and just staring at him and, like, grabbing her pocketbook like she was getting ready to dig in it and get something. He said he had never seen her act like that and never seen her, like, shift her personality like that.